Let us look at 4 definitions of the Mass. The English dictionary simply defines Mass as matter or material, a quantity of matter coherent together so as to make one body, or an aggregation of particles or things which collectively make one body or quantity. In other words, mass is matter, material, something concrete, something tangible. Moving from the physical to the spiritual, we can say mass is something concrete, something tangible, something we can feel, touch, hear, or hold in order to discern spiritual realities. That is the physical dimension of the invisible spiritual realities. Therefore, while we can feel the physical, tangible appearances, a lot goes on behind the scene. The Penny Catechism gives a theological definition of Mass as the sacrifice of the body and blood of Jesus Christ, really present on the altar under the appearances of bread and wine, and offered to God for the living and the dead. I consider the word sacrifice as important here because it tells us that at Mass there is a priest, a victim, and an altar of sacrifice, and Jesus is all three. However, a liturgical definition of Mass is also appropriate, that Mass is the liturgy, and that is what we do as a community of God. It's an action that necessarily demands all hands on deck with full, conscious, and active participation. So, the liturgy suffers if any of us stops working or stops participating. Therefore, there is a place for everyone at Mass. Mass as liturgy has 3 nuances. The word liturgy is made up of 2 Greek words. The lit part of the word comes from Greek laos, meaning people. That is also where we get the English word for laity. And the orgy part of the liturgy is also from Greek ergon, meaning work. And that is the same Greek word for energy. These 2 words put together, lit and ergon, makes the liturgy somehow the work of the people. But it's not simply the people's work. And this is where the second nuance comes in, that the liturgy is the work of Christ done on behalf of the people. When we understand this, we find out that Christ himself is the principal liturgist. He is the one doing the work for the people because they are not able to accomplish salvation on their own. Christ is the only one who can say the perfect prayer to the Father. The priest only acts in his person. The third nuance is that the liturgy is our imitation of the work of God, rightly called a reenactment of the economy or the work of God. From the Greek world, where the word liturgy originates, in Greek mythology, the best way to worship a god is to imitate the god. If your god was Dionysus, the god of wine, the best way to worship him is to have a drink. If your god is Poseidon, the god of the sea, the best way to serve him is to go fishing. If your God is our God, the God of salvation, through the Paschal mysteries, the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, then the Mass, the liturgy, worships God as such. At Mass, therefore, we reenact what God did for our salvation, and the salvific effect are still being felt here and now. Therefore, the liturgy is the work of the people imitating the work of God. In the liturgy, especially at Mass, the 3 nuances come together and God is praised. And finally, from the Second Vatican Council, the Eucharist, the Mass, is the source and summit of the Christian life. This is true because Mass has inspired a lot in Christianity, from the artworks on the altar, to the sacred and liturgical music, to the apostolate to the poor, our pious and societal meetings, Bible study groups, and so on. All these can be traced back to a single source, the holy sacrifice of the Mass.